especially you, Zabak. You're the main character that comes to mind. You didn't want to accept that so-called Korean guy because of the way he looked.
Yep.
And he told you, he came before you, said, look, I want to learn what you guys know. I want to try to keep the laws like you guys keep it.
Yep.
In other words, I want to be an Israelite like you guys.
And you dismissed him.
And you dismissed him just because of the way he looked. You're going to have to answer for that, man.
That's right.
All right, this is Lamentations, the 1st chapter, from 1 to 3. It says, how doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow, she that was great among the nations? See, a lot of you think that the Chinese are better than you, the Japanese are better, but here it's telling you, she that was great among the nations. You were the ones that were great among the nations, not them other nations. You're the great ones, you Israelites, you tribes, beginning with you so-called Negroes all the way down to you so-called Mexicans. You're the great people, man. She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces. How is she? The average Negro don't believe he was a prince. All right, even though if his name is Prince, he still don't believe he was a prince.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just a nigga. That's all I'm gonna ever be is a nigga.
Roy or Leroy.
Like Elatar always says. He always says it all the time. He says this is how he say. He said a nigga don't believe in himself, and that's true. You know. You certainly don't believe you're better than the so-called white man, the average of you so-called Negroes. That's why in that Miami zombie video, they had that cracker running around, acting like a zombie, and you niggas was running from the damn cracker, man.
I mean, a whole gang of y'all.
They had this big black buck-looking nigga, looked like he could break the cracker in half. He was running like he looked like a little boy running away from that cracker.
Yep.
Because you believe that the white man, the so-called white man, is better than you. Anyway, and that's that curse, man. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks among all her lovers. Among all her lovers. Who are your lovers? Those are the nations that you're trying to appease. Like the scriptures say, why bendest thy ways
To seek love.
to seek love. That's what you do. You go all out of your way to make the white man accept you, to make the Chinese guy accept you, to make the Japanese people accept you, when you're better than them.
Yep.
All right. She have none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She dwelleth among the nations.
Yep.
She findeth no rest. See? So no matter how much you go out of your way to be accepted by those other nations, the scriptures say you will find no rest. They will never accept you, no matter what you do. All right? And it's time you realize that, you so-called Negroes, all the way down to you so-called Mexicans. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors, and they're your persecutors. Who are the ones persecuting you? Who are the ones oppressing you? Those other nations, man. The Chinese don't give a damn about you. The Japanese, the Arabs, you know, the so-called white man, that's the main oppressor. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. Now that was Lamentations 1 to 3. Now I'm going to end this lesson in the book of Deuteronomy 31 to 4. See, I just wanted to bring out these scriptures to you brothers to show you, man. These are scriptures you can bring out on the street when these guys talk about, well, what about the Gentiles? Jesus Christ came for the Gentiles too. Then you can explain to them, well, those Gentiles were the Israelites that were scattered among the other nations. All right? This is Deuteronomy 30, the 30th chapter, the 1st to the 4th verse. It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which we're going in the curse, we're going through the curse part now. But we also got the blessing too, because those of us that are part of the elect, the blessing we have gotten is the understanding of this word, which is a blessing. All right? The blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. So we've learned about the curses that we received, and we're also learning about the blessing. Where are we learning it? Among the other nations, right? And shall return unto the Lord thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Like I said, you have to be sincere about this. Then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations. You can't get around that, man. Will gather thee. Who's the thee? You Israelites, from among all the nations. He didn't say he's going to gather the nations with you. Right. He said he's going to gather you from among all the nations to be his. And gather thee from among all the nations, whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, which is where we are, right? From thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. See, that's where I'm going to end this lesson on. So that's happening right now, man. That's happening right now. The Lord thy power is gathering us, and he's fetching us. So those of you brothers that see this lesson, and you feel the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua on you, and you can understand what we're saying, you can understand these words, then you're the ones that the Lord is fetching.
That's right.
You're the ones the Lord is gathering. It doesn't matter what you look like. I mean, you might go in the mirror and say, well, I don't think them guys are going to... It's not about us accepting you.
That's right.
It's about Yahweh Hashem Yahushua accepting you. And those that are among us that don't want to accept you because of the way you look, even though you exhibit the spirit, they ain't right, man.
That's right.
And sooner or later, the Most High... Look, I'm going to give an example. Lahab was one of those guys. He wouldn't accept the guy because of the way he looked. Where's Lahab now?
He's bugged out.
He's bugged out, all right? The Most High rejected him. He's a reprobate, all right? So with that, you know, just a few scriptures dealing with among the nations, because our nation Israel was scattered among the nations. This is GMS Walk and Talk. We'll see you next week with a brand new lesson. Lord willing. Shalom.
Shalom.